that there's a large disparity of Falcons really liking to end things quickly, while Oxuji wanting to drag it the full way. So Oxuji here are going to kick us off with a kill or two, but by the end stage, Falcons are known to strike back harder than ever as we find ourselves in a 4v2 situation with the site being now on lockdown. Plans going down here. One man advantage, just a bit overwhelming in the moment with these pistols. It can consistently hit these dinks. Veno finds Kisly, and Cloxy will there take out Crescents. Towards ramp. 3 players sneaking on. Ooh, good kill here for Tape. On that palace side, while there's a big distraction down mid. And that's where Cloxy is going to be able to pick up Iono. Oxuji already starting to plunder Kurama there with a really good spot. Zealot posted himself up on. Get themselves into this B site, smoke everything out again, get prepped up for a good plan. There is a player CT side. Are they holding it? No, there's still Zealot you have to be careful of though. Tape will fall. They're going to be in the better here compared when it comes down to utilities. Oxuji really have only Kisly, but everything's already been kind of spread out. Mike with 1 kill. Cloxy now falls. The final 2 are just going to have to play the time game. Veno's able to shoot out Zealot. Now the Galil sprays 3 down alongside Graku, and object type of battle we have ongoing. So it could go either way, but again, for now, we're very early into it, and anything could go wrong, such as an opening deagle kill by Kisly here to find Graku. This has a lot of value as it finds 2 as well. The 3rd one for Kisly as he's finally shut down, but the damage has already been done by Falcons. He still has 2 players to clear, and they're lined up nicely. You get 1, but the spray transfer will not be there, and Falcons force be too much of a game changer. And consistency, we've talked about it, needs to be shown. Graku now with an op down mid. Or not even mid, he's going to be pushing it, not for 1, but for twice down. Absent, the 3rd one, wallbang onto Zealot. Now, Oxuji being dealt a similar situation, right? A single player popping off a bit of a hero play against them. Oxuji aren't going to be the best when it comes down to eco. Just to kick a man while they're already hunting 1 down. It's going to be difficult to find a breakthrough unless a catalyst shows itself. Last time it was Kisly. I don't think Falcons are going to allow it again. Or maybe Mike is willing to step up to the task. Up good for 1. Iono swings for the 2nd. Falcons will find the refrag, but eventually we get to spot that it's a similar situation. Again, 2-for-1 deal, not really benefactory to Falcons. And it keeps on descending further down as Greco falls shortly after. Tape, we're taking damage, 50 down as well, trying to play aggro on ramp. And even then, Cloxy's being covered, so his swing towards Palace just doesn't work out. 4v1, Hag there to put the final blow in, and pretty wealthy in some of these earlier buys, even affording an op on a player such as Graku, who was able to deliver that nasty 3K, but now on Mac 10's disparity is starting to reek. It's merely a distraction swings here from Palace, but look at Iono's reaction. A bit too many shots from NATO. And now it seems the bottom players, the under players, have been spotted a bit too quickly, and they've all been cleared as well. Last one to try and make a stand, but Falcons' force have been wiped on our players. It seems like good bounce of the flash. Still find some of these players off. Now the first kill here going to be Zealot's claim. Type will fall, but Veno eventually finds the refrag. And yeah, Iono has been loving some of these sneak spots, while Graku, though, just going to wipe 2 players off the board and make it look like child's play. Very carefully, cautiously with his teammate around kitchen, store, whatever the call out you wish to prefer is. Veno finds 1 to his left. I'm going to need to swing, but you're odd-numbered, and Veno there to also finish it out as Falcon and the op. I mean, you have so many long angles. Let's not even talk about the main approaches being long angles, but the first op will end up taking the fall. Second one, though, finding Succession. Kisly, again, one of those star players that just rises out from nowhere. Quickly fallen into doom and despair. A careless swing by Iono finds the wall. Not even the wall bang, it's just a no-scope. Good nade here towards Graku. Taking a bit of damage, but again, this push from Iono, he's always been finding nooks and crannies that Falcons don't expect, especially push into a smoke around it. Get yourself an easy plant while the nade's there to clear it out. It seems adaptation from Oxuji was expected and opt to claim it, but an upfront approach here by Graku and Tapewire just to catch him off guard, leaving Heck in 1v3. Minute to hold out for. Information on where one of them stands, heavy damage and a swing there to follow. Exchange for the line. During their mid-game, or rather mid-first half game, they've been able to rack up a couple of cash to keep them going until the very end. Player-wise, though, Cloxy exchanges himself, or rather, the majority of his HP, 85, or kill onto the enemy team where Veno continues, but Tetras here needs to be checked, especially when you're hopping over Sandwich. Thankfully, Veno has the back of NATO. Tape there with another onto Kisley, so he can't get away with another miraculous 3 kill. Stuck on tickets, one even coming from behind, but that won't be necessary as Veno finds the last shot. And we have ourselves a 29th, I believe. Just for anyone that wasn't there when I mentioned that earlier. 4 players posted up towards this B side, one stuck on their spawn. But heck, then pushing forward just to find a reevaluation. A square one spot for both these teams to have an equal amount of standing players, but Tape gonna get himself and his team in a worsened spot. Was a bit outside of his boundary zone. Now Veno gonna need to push himself deep, and so he does. Finds INO. 3v3, plant will not be denied. Inevitable that it's about to go down with the speed that Oxuji were rocking. Cross established a bit too fast. Veno just gonna swing into Khan and find himself a victim. Mike will fall. Now Heck and Zealot have to play this hand in hand, but they're overwhelmed by numbers, although they're all coming in from one direction. So as long as you can find these head taps, it's very possible. They do so, leaving it all down to Greku. Has the better gun, but does not have the mechanical prowess to do it. Prior round, or the opposite now, as they're all on pistols. Just gonna have to swing, but Veno finds one. They land up so nicely that Mike and Iono won't deny it, but look at this. Cloxy has mowed 3 players down for himself. Now, Oxuji, they can get the plan down, sure. It's only going to be 1 player holding it, though. It's going to be around that stairs, not holding the angle. Now the players have pass on through the smoke, so Clocks has himself a safe spot while he's now in bottom palace. Iono finds himself one. Tape wire. Picking up Iono and leaving it a 1v1. As the better gun, I would say so, yes, but also the lockdown of the bullets. Damage ticking away, NATO. Picking up Mike as the opening, but an instant return here by Zealot. Oxuji attempting what has been done before. What a flick here from Zealot, holy. Holding it all down by himself. 2 kills secured in his lonely one. He's trying to push back Falcons into their own spawn. Unsuccessful. Utility overwhelming. Swung by 2. Loses out the battle. Similarly to Heck, but Kisley not so much. Greku. Probably the gun you would want to be handed down, but double-edged sword. If you miss, you're done. Greku does not miss. He picks up that AK and even then finds a one-tap headshot onto Kisley, proving this one isn't theirs. Keep in mind, nor the next one. Falcons already have themselves match point. Zealot, not much of a coverage towards mid. It seems like Falcons completely gave it up. And the side being left vacant, only an op to hold it down. Not much damage here dealt. Just swinging in. How does that happen? Get the round, though. That's what matters most. Economy isn't broken up either, and heavy money for some of these. They're not consistently shining. I do believe most of them, if not all, have had their moment. Greco being a very good example here. Iono as well has been disrupting a lot of the strategies Falcons have been attempting to make. Especially with him just sneaking up all around the place. Now he's going to be dealt rather deals major damage. Molly to counter it out a second though. Just in return, smoke to save yourself. Heck with a kill onto Veno. Oxuji seem to be taking matters into their own hands. As Falcons have 2 bottom stairs. Has a FAMAS, not the best gun. So can get the kill spotted, matters not. Are we going to get greedy to pick up an upgrade? Something thinking about will come back and bite Oxuji. And that prime example being Kisley's death. I can now scouting out the entirety of the site. Trying to capture whatever he can, but the only thing he'll be capturing is a bullet between his eyes. Smokes out. Zealot falls first as I was speaking. One of the trio to carry the better guns. The second one as well. The AK might be the next one to follow, but no, it's Iono, it's Kisley. Now the pistol's out, utility as well. And Oxuji only have one more man's shoulders to rely on. It's going to be Mike's cannon in his hands. He made a small mistake, just like Falcons. It could all be over. Didn't check his back in time. NATO was just ready to swing him. Yeah, this is not a round that Oxuji should be comfortable in getting. Falcons Force will, well, traditionally find it with HiGHLiGHTS first kill again. That's going to be the top fragger from Oxuji, already removed. And now the rest are just going to line themselves up nicely, but they react perfectly. Good one considering they're on pistols. 2 kills for themselves. They get 1 more. It might be looking a little bit more plausible. The gun upgrade is there for Heck. It's the only thing that can carry him on through, but he's in the crossfire, caught and killed. You're right. They're going to post it up towards this mid and A main push, which makes it so difficult to defend against as NATO goes down. But now without a fight, side now overtaken. Oxuji get themselves all the positions needed to hold in a comfortable post plan, while which is barely. Spotting one, a single tap by Veno, pulls out the knife. Styles on the player, but is styled upon lately after. As Mike finds one, the second here for HiGHLiGHTS, and a finishing one as well. Oxuji, that we also saw Falcons win on yesterday, it was also the map that went the longest. And it might just be about the same going into this one. But now, a further buy from Falcons also boosts their confidence a bit too much, I would rather say. Swings here against them, as now they're at a min disadvantage. Doesn't stand for longer. Thankfully, Veno's efforts are put and worked to the very bone. Still not alone. 2 players holding you. Could be a great opportunity for Falcons to turn it into a 2v1 on site, and that's exactly what happens. Even then, Oxuji's last player was already spotted, so they have the information of where he stands. He's going to need to fake out this defuse. He's feeling the swing, shows himself for a mere moment. He's going to do the same. He's just going to juggle peek. Well, to accept the third round will not be Falcons to claim either. Oxuji now. Blood is shed both ways, but look at Falcons. Interesting approach this time around. Going to play aggressively and push into Oxuji in towards this B side, back into their own territory. Perfect spot for HiGHLiGHTS just to evade him. Now on his 6, gets the kill. Last one here will be Heck. First contention, and the last one as well. One out by enough to where Oxuji would be playing mid. Considering their buys may not be the best, it's going to be that B side that's a bit more heavy. It's the full site push here that Oxuji find the most prevalent. Zanop as well and Mikey kind of wasting moments. A potential round, some might even say, as his team is just getting riddled apart, torn to pieces. Finally a 1v1 here, but 20 seconds. Doesn't seem like these two... And it seems a map like this certainly favors Oxuji, which is going to stick religious. This cave side. Throw it out from lamps. Flash good enough to support tape. Finds HiGHLiGHTS. It should be clear you're seeing multiple mollies at once. There's more than just one player here for sure. You sneak yourself into a cubby, but Veno can't persist much longer than a second. I don't know, even though half blind, it still finds the kill plan going down. Now Falcons looking to 2 players towards caves, one with an op as well. How do you approach this? Not a good start, but you get that refrag. So have plenty to go along, and Mike spotted gun switch and bad moment, good spray. On a 1v2, you're going to need to go for this defuse. Hag has exposed himself to bring it into a 1v1, but he can just run away. This is what Oxuji have been good at, and they excel at it. Ek finds the lash. You know, here could potentially catch 2 players off guard, but they're ready for him. He looks away in a bad moment, and again, utility just really well played by Oxuji. They've been... We're a bit too late. I see NATO approaching this cave. One of his teammates will fall. He's going to follow 6 foot under shortly after. Mike taking heavy damage, but he's still one of the players here. HiGHLiGHTS all the way back in spawn could just pick up the bomb and go, hey, might be the plan. Is taken out by tape. That's how closed off they tend to be here. Not so easy. Tape here finding 1 and 2. Falcons seem to be back into it. Running 2. Death follows along. Everywhere Veno steps. Now, Mike at an uncomfortable 6 HP that will be belittled down to a 0. Mulder good for the finishing touch, and HiGHLiGHTS last man standing. Again, has been quite dominant beginning of the match, but ending of round number 9, not so much. Round number 10. That was going to be a lot of heavy bloodshed. Clarks is able to walk away with 1 kill under. Mike taking out An op up close, a bit of an awkward spot. Missed shot as well. Where's the support here? A bit low. Now losing such a strong player. In the end, Falcons are somehow left in a 1v1. Himself is great. Backing off. Yeah, Veno here has no, he's still going to check it. Extremely. There's going to be some danger where Hex stands. Veno swinging for 2-3. Falcons have wiped Oxuji out of nowhere. What remains? I know 2 remnants here, HiGHLiGHTS and Mike, trying to fight back what they've lost. And Falcons might be willing to give them some of these challenges. Veno now on his 4th kill, is it? And the ace for Veno. Shoot. And blinded, still picking up HiGHLiGHTS. What a shot here onto Greco by HiGHLiGHTS. In the end, though, Oxuji do end up trading a bit more than they would have wanted to. They bite off. Flash following smoke combination. One blinded and stuck in the mid cubby. Still fighting back, though. NATO's spirit will not prevail. Rather, it will. It finds Clock, though. Now 1v2 here, but NATO standing strong since the beginning. He's been stuck in that cubby and will walk up. Free real estate towards Palace. Other temple. This entire site should be for Falcons. Claim the opening as well. Iono is seeking the refrag, but can't seem to capitalize upon it. Zila taking a bit of damage towards Donut, but he just locked outside of his own sight. One heavenly passage that Falcons needed to get themselves over towards this A has now been given over, but the man count lost quickly and regained by Veno. Still fighting heavenly, but can't win against Heck on those dual Berettas. Time is slowly starting to tick, though. Only half of the timer if you want to make it through. No kit in a smoking combo. One player holding you from Donut. Random smoke bangs, but I don't think it's happening. And there's just no angle to find it. Zealot is going to clean up the rest, and Oxuji find themselves. Heavy Flash is good in response. And Falcon Force, everything that they've stood for in this entire matchup has now gone to dust. Going to be doubling down on the score while the CT players now recognize Falcons are in such a desperate moment. And even with a heavy buy, Oxuji backstab on HiGHLiGHTS. And both the CT players who are on Donut, and that's exactly what Nada will be doing. A molly towards HiGHLiGHTS. Going to flush him out forcefully, but he's going to close the angle and fight it off with that MP9. I know prior to it, able to pick up another for Falcons. Now it's all left down to Greco, or rather HiGHLiGHTS. Greco's been the one to bring it down to a 2v1, but HiGHLiGHTS doing just about the same. Needs to play the time game. Going to close the distance. Greco has picked up that AK, anticipates HiGHLiGHTS' position, and finds the last shot. With the hop as well to check out mid. And Zealot's going to support him from that top mid line. Fine NATO. And showing up a bit more in the previous rounds. Greco, though, returning the favor likewise. Falcons maybe not in an HP advantage, but certainly able to re-establish the man count. One more for an eye for an eye. Greco picks off another again. Greco and his HiGHLiGHTS just wanting someone to walk into him, but won't be happening. Plant is now attempted. Final 2 Oxuji players just waiting to strike at the right moment. They find Tape and returns it. But with only 1 HP remaining, he's going to have to play this extremely safely. He can bait out this last player into the hands of Greco. Be the perfect spot, but an op versus op. It's the one holding the angle that ends up winning. Falcons, a lot more succession. Responsive on towards this B side, but not so much. Again, the second Oxuji amp up the aggression. Falcons can't handle it anymore. Besides Greco, who can at least find himself, and Veno. At 1 kill onto Oxuji up until now. But they no longer hold that possession they did on the previous time. It's going to be a very desperate attempt to get the plan down, but winning against them. But Falcons, I believe Falcons won in better circumstances. 4 players from Falcons. looking to burden shoulders such a heavy burden, and it was good added Veno there for a switch up, but instantly it seemed like Falcons just dropping by their HP counts. Although still finding themselves, oh god, HiGHLiGHTS mows them down. Now it's all lived down into 1v1. NATO, thankfully, good enough for that refrag, but even though the right spray here could find it, a whoa, smoke bang headshot by Iono to put NATO to rest 2 days from now on. However, taking a look at how Oxuji have been dealing some of the previous rounds going into map number 2, it's very possible they might be able to walk out of here, considering they're slight underdogs, I'd say, in this matchup. Is now on the T side, going to fully send it into B, and again, a bit more difficult to find yourself a retake as a CT player on the B side compared to the A. Couple of shots here. Veno will find Mike. 2v3 looking a bit better. Overall, you are looking to deal as much damage to the enemy players as you can, but at least HiGHLiGHTS is going to stop that there for Veno. All he wrote, and same goes for Clocks. A good swing here from it's the position of NATO that needs to go checked. He gets himself the good opportunity, a blastful one, to pick up 2 players, but not shortly after. So he's just going to jump in, get that refrag while he still can. The enemy player mid-reload, caught off guard, and Oxuji quickly look away for a moment. Veno here sprays one for himself. HiGHLiGHTS, though, again, has been a player of mechanical giftness. I think Oxuji saving. Very doable, Nate here. Even Amali, I don't know why he's refraining from using him, but that gives HiGHLiGHTS enough time just to walk the from Falcons. Not like they've been able to afford a lot of it each round, but it seems they've been prioritizing gunfights more than anything. Here across established, nice enough for 1 kill on Falcons, but Oxuji have been loving doing right. Inferno fast enough can be extremely good for rotations, and that hop from Iono extremely solid. Quick enough to catch NATO as he's a bit too... Yeah, final 2 players low on HP. They do eventually get the refrag, but Greco with an op is now being hunted down. Although he can still fight back. And that is just, oof, bittersweet. However, with Greco's wallbang here, Falcons finally, this is not a favorable fight if played correctly by Falcons. Good shots attempted by Veno, but there's just no support from Clocks, right? HiGHLiGHTS gets away with his kill, and now the rest of Oxuji can team up against these lone, isolated players. Finding his one Clocks, he picks up HiGHLiGHTS. I've been mentioning that they have really been lenient towards is the fact that they put a lot of their presence on towards one bomb site, and then they instantly rotate towards the other. This is something Greco spotted in an instant. Now going for the quick rotation before tape. It might be too late for him. Plan going down, and this is just the perfect moment. He finds the head tap, and oh. Showing a stronger resolution to get this victory under the belt. And kill for Falcons, 2 here for Oxuji. It was going to keep it within balance, however. A plan going down. But still very fightable. He's going to simply remain next to the corpses of the grave they've set down. Mike good for 1, the second spotted, and even then Hex still finds the last. NATO here. Hope still shining. Head held high. Tape there to follow in his footsteps. Great. Very cool. Shot solid enough from Mike to find the first default cubby that's just going to get forced out. Flush. Player sprayed down. Not just yet. He's somehow still alive. And finally Mike to put that last blow in. Clock's now swinging. 6 seconds on the count. Might as well go for the defuse. Bait out a shot. The no-scope won't connect. Oxuji. starting to crumble under the pressure that Falcons are displaying out of nowhere here. 3 players gone. Braves already nicely necessarily aren't comparable, but the score count really is going in a similar pathing. Oxuji, still some fight back being shown, as with the previous round. Mike getting the first one here for Oxuji, but HiGHLiGHTS returning it now. 1v2. Final player with a bomb rotating towards A. Contact with the site itself still has an op, but again, in a 1v2, that might not be the gun of choice you'd want. Final 2 are sneaking up behind your back, and Mike not be quick enough to realize this. Bullet skull crushing back at it shows the grip. Constantly been losing players, but mostly HP at the early parts of these rounds, and Oxuji finally shredding back. Line going down, fountain default Oxuji. Tape, no clue that one's on these barrels. There might be 2 players, but will they both fall? Yes, Mike clears them both. And the last one late to the party here. Venno, what do we do? On CT stuck and outnumbered. At least good for the 1, but bullets run out. And the last one within this first half, 1 round. Now just overwhelming again. Falcons are going to use force to crush down Oxuji's players. Ek finds himself a return, but and results still in the minus. Looking to hunt down some of the players, even escaping off towards mid. But is this worthy of your time? Seems like it. Going to get right back onto their main priority. It's going to be fine. Holding an advantageous position. Players are starting to slowly lose traction. As HiGHLiGHTS now, the last one, low HP, just needs a hat tap and finds the single shot just within time as well. Smoke. Oxuji are expecting them though. Instant rotation, right? They're responding in correction. As now Falcons are putting them down in each step they take. Doesn't seem like Oxuji can fight back for a single moment. You give a... They're just going to seek out these final 2. Really trying to deal as much economical damage as possible. And it's no longer Oxuji with a 7-round lead. Some craziness, but... And then while blinded, lock the hell in. I know, not letting go of his position. His and his alone to hold down. Ups away from danger. Clock spotted it from mid. Oh, and HiGHLiGHTS taking a bit of damage, but they're going to swing on through right after a smoke is set. Clocks is expecting it. But a bit him. Reku on the other hand, and the rest of his teammates not really doing the best. As you lose that op again, Oxuji, after winning their 1 round, doesn't seem like that's enough for them. They crave for more, an amazing flash, and that just allows HiGHLiGHTS to spray 2 down, leaving HiGHLiGHTS in a 1v1 that guns-wise, Falcons are looking good. Oxuji, though, are starting to get careless as they look to push down bottom mid into Falcons' territory, where the Hawk is able to cling onto Oxuji's 3 players. Now without a bite back, Iono still fighting for his own life. Pistol now out. Finds 1 headshot. The second won't prevail. That gives HiGHLiGHTS just enough time to rotate over towards Apps. Recognizes they're going to be around window. One of the players, the bomb has already made its way onto site. 1 around pit. Evil angles, so many of them. Which one are you going to clear, HiGHLiGHTS? Cross is being held. He needs to flick around, and I don't think he had the bullets. Falcons. Smoke. Falcons. And Tape taking light damage. Slap on the wrist. It's going to be Venno you need to be worried about. I think we'll take him out as the first, but they're pushing into sandbags, and look at the damage here. Even the pistol, even then HiGHLiGHTS is still dealing so much damage. Falcons walking out of that with a heavy wound, bleeding with 2 players now. Greku a bullet away from death, and on their hind legs, Falcons. They need to play this extremely carefully, but Oxuji more so than it. They play this carelessly, which they won't. Oxuji will be your winners, 13-8, just like Falcons.